What's up, everybody? I'm Matt.
And I'm Beth.
And today we're going to be reviewing the interior in the 2022 Kia Carnival. So the Carnival is the new replacement for what was the Sedona, but I mean, it's an entirely new vehicle, as you can see, both on the outside and the inside. They made a lot of changes to make it a lot bigger. This has best-in-class cargo space, best-in-class passenger space, and as far as the outside, it looks really, really cool, and I will link the driving review where I discuss more of the exterior and also how it drives and pricing and all that kind of stuff. But as far as the inside here, it definitely makes a statement. Compared to all the other vans that we've reviewed, the Odyssey, the Sienna, they've all basically done new versions here in the past year. And so Kia is kind of the last one now with a new version. And I'd say that this is definitely one of the coolest looking interiors of the bunch for sure. They've all gone in very bold directions, but I think this looks pretty sweet.
Yeah, I think honestly it's really impressive, and especially for the price, it's kind of luxurious. It makes you feel like you are in a luxury vehicle instead of just in, you know, a Kia.
Yeah, I mean, Kia in general, all their vehicles have been so much improved, and this is, yeah, I mean, just like the others, it's very, very impressive.
Yeah, everything's been really revamped with Kia. I really feel like Kia is such a great option, and I think that a lot of people overlook it because they think it's just a cheap car or whatever, but they are so nice. They've really shown in the past handful of years how well they can make cars and how good looking they can make them as well.
Yeah, and this one isn't even a fully loaded one, by the way. This is the SX trim that we're in. It starts around $43,000. You can go up to an SX Prestige trim, which is the top one, and those are around $46,000. But these start right around $32,000 for the base trim, and you get a lot of good standard equipment in those, which I'll kind of cover here in a minute. But first off, these seats. We got to talk about these seats. So we have these Syntex seats. They're like a synthetic leather. You get real leather in the SX Prestige, but these ones are still the synthetic. I personally think it's kind of cool. It's like this brownish color to the leather. You can get a more traditional beige and a black leather interior as well if you'd like. But I like the perforations on them. They're heated and cooled and have all the usual adjustments, and so they're great for all that.
Same with the passenger. You get all of your same adjustments as the driver, but I will say it is not brownish. In person, it is like a pumpkin. So if you like orange, go for it. I do not. I hate it. He likes it. Yeah. I know that he does because he always likes these like brownish colors, and I like brown, but this is just
a little too orangey.
It's orange. It's definitely not a brown.
But yeah, you can, like I said, get a more traditional beige and black, but I just like that they're offering color, at least for an interior, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely fun, and they are comfortable seats, so like whatever color you get, it's perfect, but honestly, I just like, it's a no from me.
Yeah. But yeah, they're great seats. They also do have memory seats here on the driver's side, so it's nice you have that built in with a little hard button there. There's also driver profiles in the infotainment system, and that will store a bunch of the driver information as far as, you know, what you want to have for all your settings and all that. But yeah, nice seats here, and again, the heating and cooling does work pretty well. The cooling does get nice and cool here in the summer and stuff, so really good seats there. The steering wheel is also really nice here in the Carnival, so it has a great 9-3 grip, nice little 10 and 2 notches, and your usual buttons here you get on any other Kia. With this little part that looks like it's metal, but it's actually just plastic, but still nice to have, although you do have the gloss black here on the bottom of the wheel, and that is just prime for fingerprints and scratches and stuff, so that's going to look kind of gross in pretty quick order. But aside from that, it's a nice wheel. Unfortunately, the one thing I have to complain about, it's not a heated steering wheel, and some of the others don't make you go up to the top trim. You can get a heated steering wheel in the top trim here in the Carnival, but again, you got to spend $46,000 to get a heated steering wheel. I really wish that would be kind of like an option or something that at least came on lower trims, because I feel like that's just a really nice feature to have if you ever are in a cold climate, and it's just unfortunate you have to get a fully loaded trim in order to get a heated steering wheel. But aside from that, it's a great wheel. The gauges here in the Carnival, now again, this is the gauge cluster you're going to get in the SX and all the lower trims. You'll get fully digital gauges in the Prestige. I don't really mind these analog gauges, because the thing with the digital gauges in these is, aside from the blind view monitor, which will show you a picture of what's going on in your blind spot whenever you have your turn signal on, aside from that one feature, the digital gauges do the same thing these gauges do. They just look cooler, but there's no extra functionality. There's no map view in the digital gauges or anything like that. So I don't really miss having the digital gauges. And these work totally fine. You have your basic info as far as trip info and safety info in that middle portion there, and that's it. It's pretty small and there's not a lot of information in there, but they work fine. It's a minivan. You have this massive infotainment screen that makes up for it. And coming over to this screen, I mean, it is a wow factor. It's a 12.3-inch screen, which does make it hands down the biggest screen in any minivan as far as infotainment stuff goes. The Pacifica screen's only 10 inches, but it is taller, so that has maybe a little more screen real estate. But this one, you know, it's just impressive with just how wide it spans across the dash here. And it's running the newest version of Kia's infotainment software, which is really cool with this map view, and it's just very classy looking. I love the purpley blue theme and the neon theme you have here for everything. It has a lot of great features in addition to, you know, the radio being very easy to tune because you have volume and tune knobs, and, you know, it has your smartphone integration for Apple CarPlay and Android Auto and all that. But it also does have cool stuff like passenger view. So it actually uses a little camera mounted in the roof there, and so you can actually see what's going on back there, and you can actually double tap to zoom in if you want to see a little bit more of a close-up. And so it's really nice. That is something that some of the other competitors have also been doing recently, but it's great that you have that. It also has passenger talk, so it will use the Bluetooth microphone to broadcast to the back seats or to kids that have headphones in. And it also has the quiet mode, which will again disable the speakers in the back, so that up front here you can have it, you know, still have some music, but have a little bit quieter for those rear occupants. And so, you know, a lot of those family-friendly things are all present here. It also does have the sounds of nature, which might be helpful with babies if you want to have ambient noise in the background there to help them fall asleep or something. Great, you have that there. And so, I mean, it works really well with everything, honestly. One important thing to note here, though, is that the Apple CarPlay and Android Auto is wired. You still have to plug in your phone in this. That's the case with all the other models aside from the Pacifica. That does have wireless CarPlay, which is nice. And if you actually go for the lower screen in the Carnival here, you also get wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Kia and Hyundai have this weird thing right now where the upgraded screen is wired and the lower screen is wireless, which is the superior technology, and for some reason the cheaper screen got it and this one still doesn't. I don't know when they're going to fix that, but it's the most bizarre thing I've seen in a while as far as interior stuff and how everything works out. But anyway, aside from that, this screen's great and I like it a lot.
Yeah, I think it's really great too. It's really impressive. It looks really cool. It is ever so slightly tilted towards the driver. They love doing this driver-centric thing. I think it's on 90% of the vehicles these days, but I think it really works well. I think it's great.
And it's not too much of an angle, right? Like,
no, it's not too much. I can still get to everything, but there's that. And then also I will add that there's a lot of piano black plastic in this car. It is around the screen, it is around the gauges, it is around all of your cup holders. It's also on multiple sides of the door, so you will get a lot of scratches in this car. They have this really pretty fake wood here. I think that looks really great. If they were able to put that in place of your plastic, I think that would really cut down on all of your scratches and fingerprints that you could get in this car.
Yeah, and that's been a common complaint. I actually watched Savage Geese in their review on the Carnival, and they were furious about all the gloss black plastic in here, and I totally get it. I mean, especially for a kid-friendly vehicle, I mean, they have, you know, stuff on their fingers that gets smudged all over the place, and there's a reason why piano black plastic isn't present in all the other competing vehicles. It just doesn't make sense. I mean, I know that Kia's whole marketing thing for this is that this is a multi-purpose vehicle. This isn't technically a minivan, according to Kia in their mind. So maybe they didn't have a family-friendly approach, but then they do all this other stuff like the passenger view and stuff. So clearly they are thinking about kids. But then when it came to the interior design, they're like, nope, we'll just do gloss black everywhere and it's fine.
I will give them kudos for putting it around the screen and the gauges, because I think that looks okay and you're not touching it as much, but like everything else you're touching.
Yeah, so. And you can even see, I mean, because like I just wiped down this stuff with a sanitizing wiper, and you can even see just all the watermarks on, you know, the climate control area and stuff that stand out. And that's another thing, coming down to the climate control area, you'll see it is mostly capacitive touch buttons aside from these little rockers for your temperature. I will say that it does work decent enough though. I mean, I never failed to pick up a touch or anything, so it works really well. So that's another area that's gonna look pretty crappy pretty quickly, but you know, I think that actually does look nice from a design standpoint as far as how it's integrated in.
Yeah, I think it looks really pretty. I think all of the piano black plastic looks pretty and it looks cohesive and put together, but it's just the fact that it's not very durable.
Yeah, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. But then coming back, you do have like some nice metal trim here for your heated and cooled seat controls and a few other buttons here. Also, the shifter's really nice. It's like leather and metal here. All great there for all that kind of stuff. And then moving on to the storage spaces here in the Carnival, it's also very good too. So you have these huge pockets on the doors with a bottle holder.
Also on the passenger side, you have a little pocket here. There's plenty of space to put a pack of gums, your wallet, couple of things. Not huge, but you can still fit some things in there.
And strangely, you don't have that on the driver's side here for some reason. There's like a little cutout, but it's not an actual pocket, so that's interesting. But anyway, you do have this nice large bin in the middle here, which has 3 USB jacks, as well as a wireless charging pad. And so it's great to have all that, but unfortunately there are no traditional power outlets up front here. So if you're someone who runs like a dash cam, or if you have a phone charger that just still uses a cigarette outlet, you're not going to have any kind of charging capability with that. And then behind the shifter here, you have another little slot which you can fit some small little knickknacks in. Then you have the center armrest as well, which has some padding to it. It's not super plush, but a decent amount of padding there. And you open that up and you'll see a nice large bin. And so I think as far as that stuff goes, this is probably average for the class. But whenever you look at like the new Sienna, which has this huge bridge thing, and you have this massive bin underneath of that whole center console that we reviewed, that was a lot more impressive with its space. The Pacifica also has a lot more space with its under storage bin there. And so, you know, even the Odyssey also does a really good job with utilizing space. So I think as far as upfront interior storage goes, this is actually probably the worst out of all 4. It's still decent, but I would just say it's about the same as what you get in an SUV, and it's not as good as the more functional minivans you get out there. But one of the most important things about a minivan is the back seat. So let's start covering the back seat. Now this one with the SX here, you have the 8-seater configuration. If you go for the SX Prestige, it's important to note that that is only a 7-seater, but that's mostly because it has a VIP seating arrangement where it has heated and cooled and power recline middle seats there, and they have like these cushions that come out, and it's like a whole lazy boy for those seats. So if you want the sweetest setup possible, you go for that. But it's worth noting that those seats do not remove, so you cannot take those out, versus in this you can take out all of these seats in the back and just have it be a massive van, just to, you know, haul stuff if you want. Also though, since this one does have the removable seats, that means they're not heated or anything, but it does mean you can spin them around. You can actually take them off their tracks and spin them the other way so they're facing the opposite way if you want. And you can also remove however many seats you want. They're all individual seats, so you can take out 1 seat, you can take out 2, or all 3. And so all those seats are very just customizable. Like they even had an idea where they said this middle seat, since it does have a latch hookup, you could have a baby seat in this middle seat and slide this middle seat all the way up here to the very front so that it's easier access for the passenger to, you know, tend to a baby or something like that. And so it's just really cool how you have as much or as little legroom as you want there. And so I'm 5'9", me sitting behind myself with the seat in its furthest back position. I had still plenty of legroom. I mean, it's a massive amount of space. And then you can slide it forward as much as you want. You can actually slide it all the way up so that it's actually touching the seat back. But another really cool thing is that you'll see that they have rear entertainment systems here. Now that's in the SX here and also in the SX Prestige. The screen size is, I think, about an 8-inch screen there, and they're really pretty high-tech screens. I mean, a lot of them these days, you know, in other brands, you know, they'll do maybe a little bit of streaming or something like that, or they just are DVD players and stuff. But this actually does a ton of streaming. So it has Netflix built in, Twitch, YouTube, and there's even a kids mode where it has a whole Baby Shark thing preloaded in and a bunch of other stuff. So there's a ton of different things you can do. It also does have USB hookups, HDMI ports, all that kind of stuff. So you can hook up anything you want. There is also, you'll see a power outlet down here, so you could power a game system through that. There's also a traditional power outlet back there as well, which is kind of strange. They have one back there, but not one up front. You would think that, you know, kids in the back would maybe want to have more USB jacks. They do have USB jacks built into the seat back here. There's one on each side, so you have those. But I mean, just those screens I think are going to be some of the best, and that honestly could even sell this for some families, just that those screens do so much. I mean, I don't think there's any other minivan that lets you stream Twitch from your screens back there. So just pretty cool. You can do all that kind of stuff. And then you'll see they have their cup holders here. There's also bottle holders in those doors as well, which are power open, of course, for both sides of those doors. The doors also do have nice sunshades that come up. So you even have sunshades for the third row as well. Moving on to the third row. First off, I have to say, getting into the third row, I was a little let down. I was expecting them to have the same button automated setup like you get in the Kia Telluride, which is brilliant. You press a button and that whole second row seat just slings forward on its own to get into the third row super easily. In this, you still are stuck with a lever. I was really shocked that they did that, because that means this is actually harder to get into the third row than a Kia Telluride. Usually the minivans are the easier vehicle for getting into and actually using that third row. Not the case in this, unfortunately. So I guess maybe if you didn't need all 3 seats here in the second row, you could maybe just remove that one seat and then, you know, have an easier access to the back that way. But anyway, you lift that handle and then that's how you get to the back there. And so a good amount of space too. Even with that second row slit all the way back as far as it'll go, me being 5'9", I actually fit back there. My knees are just barely grazing the soft seat back there. But I mean, I could actually sit back there comfortably for an extended period of time and be totally fine, being a normal sized adult. So kids are gonna fit back there totally fine, even if you do need the max amount of space in the second row here. But again, if you slide that second row up even a little bit, I mean, you have enough space there in the third row. You can, you know, recline your legs as much as you want and just, you know, spread out, and it's gonna be tons and tons of space. So really good amount of space back there. And this is where minivans really are better than 3-row crossovers, because you just have way more space in that third row than you do having a Telluride, Palisade, or anything that's 3-row that's outside of the full-size truck. Those seats also have their own USB jacks on both sides, as well as cup holders, cubbies. Also, one other thing I want to mention is they do have climate control there for the second row in the ceiling, and they have their own air vents in the ceiling and all that as well. So great to have that, but it is worth noting though that climate control is only on the passenger side there. It would be nice if it was maybe centrally located here in the middle or something, but as it is right now, the passenger side second you know, row people are going to be the ones that have control over the climate.
Yeah, and that would probably be pretty upsetting. I was one of 3 kids. We had a van growing up. There would have been a lot of fights about the air conditioning or heat or whatever. So I would be pretty upset. That would be my seat.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess it's like you could maybe reach that, so maybe you can just like have control over that. You know, if you're whoever's in the passenger seat, they can be the one that controls that instead or something. But anyway, just one last little thing to mention there. And then moving on to the trunk space here in the Carnival, that is another area where it is fantastic, and again, much better than what you get in most other 3-row crossovers. So with the seats actually up and out, you'll see it's a super deep well there. That's really the big advantage. Is, you know, sometimes you have little pockets underneath the floor in other 3-row crossovers, but with the minivans here, you have an enormous, I mean, you could fit like 2 coolers or something in that floor there. It's huge with the amount of space you have there. So very deep, you can stack tons and tons of luggage and actually fit all the stuff for 3 rows of people in this, which is something you usually can't do with most of those 3-row crossovers. So it's really, again, another superior thing here for the minivan. And also you'll see they have a power outlet back there, and you know, it's also very easy to drop those 3rd row seats into the floor if you like, and it's very easy to even pop them up. It's just spring loaded, and you use the handle, and then you know, it just pops right up there. It's very easy to do. It doesn't take a lot of muscle or anything either. And so yeah, but like I said, you can also, if you want to just have this as a normal van, you don't even need any of these extra seats, and you're okay with a 2-seater, you can tear out all those seats, and you can fit a huge piece of plywood or something in there, and it's really practical for, you know, your home improvement runs and things like that too. The only thing I will complain about with the trunk there is that it has this auto close feature. So you open it up, it's power open and close, but every time you open it up, it starts beeping at you. It's like a countdown of like, you have X amount of seconds, and then this thing's gonna start closing automatically. And you have to every time go up and press to turn that off. There might be a way in the setup here to actually disable it permanently, but as it sits, all throughout this week that I had this vehicle, I had to, every time I opened that, hurry up and like hit that button before the timer ran out and it started closing in on my head. So I don't know why you'd want an auto close for that. I feel like you spend however long you spend, and then you just press the button to close it. Like, it's power. Like, how is that hard?
I don't know. Maybe there's people who forget to close their
or they
trunk?
just want it to be totally hands-free. Like, maybe if you still have a baby in your hands and you dropped a bag or something. I have no clue why anyone would want to do that, but it's in here. But yeah, aside from that, I mean, like I said, everything is just really well done here in the van. I think it's just really, really good. And so yeah, that's all of our thoughts here. Like I said, be sure to go watch the driving review for all the thoughts on fuel economy, pricing, how it drives, all that kind of stuff. But that's all of our thoughts on the interior. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you guys very much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.
Take care.